But I did get to see Aquaman finally. Finally. Yeah. I think my wife is just all out on superhero movies, like, which is ironic because like one of our first date nights was to see like Thor 2, which is like considered the worst of the Thor movies. And, we snuck in alcohol, and I think she stole hand up. I don't know if there's like the statute of limitation is up yet, but she stole a mug from a restaurant that we went to afterwards. So bit of a klepto. Not anymore though, I hope. But I watched Aquaman on Saturday morning. So what happens is on the weekends, like try to let the wife sleep in. I wake up with the baby, take her down, throw her in jail in the playpen. And then I just kind of lay down and I'm like kind of half awake, and I just turn on a movie that don't have to pay a lot of attention to. It's just one of those minds you can turn your minds you can turn your movie off. One of those movies where you turn your mind off. And you just kind of just absorb it, and you're like, like it's so bad, it's good. Aquaman actually got decent reviews, I saw. But you can see like the problem with the DC extended universe is like Marvel kind of set the tone and laid out the foundation and the blueprint, and DC is kind of trying to follow that. And it's like, don't try and follow what they're doing. Just do what you want to do. And I think maybe they actually tried to do that with like Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, and it didn't really click because people are so used to the Marvel movies, not realizing that we just had the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which was just like raw and grimy and that kind of gritty type aesthetic that didn't have a ton of humor, but like had it placed here and there. Whereas Marvel has the humor, albeit whatever. Interspersed throughout their franchises. So I feel like DCEU is trying to do that. And with Aquaman, it just comes off as like Aquaman trying to like rip jokes and tell jokes or say funny things. And it's just like, you're a goofball, dude. And it'll always stick with me. There was I think this was Film Drunk. Vince from Film Drunk, I think his name is. He said, I don't know if it's him, but when he said his first reaction to Dan, I just gave it away. Jason Momoa as Aquaman was like, he's the Dan Cortez of superheroes. That just continues to resonate with me. I mean, this is like years later, and I still think about that. And you watch it, and you're like, yeah, it's like it's like a rock and jock softball game is about to break out in this freaking movie with Jason Momoa trying to crack jokes as Aquaman. But I liked it. I mean, it's not like anything groundbreaking. I mean, the one thing I did notice is if you remember the original Spider-Man trilogy, and they kind of borrowed a tactic from the original Spider-Man trilogy. This happened, I feel like, a bunch of times during Aquaman, where there's a conversation. Two people, intimate conversation, kind of slow, kind of quiet. They bring the audience down, bring the audience down, calming, soothing, loving. And then it's just quickly and rudely interrupted by an explosion. And it blows the two characters away. And then the action picks up and they're, whoa. And it's like, I get it. It's a great tactic. And it makes sense. Totally. I'm on board with it. Just don't overuse it. And they did that in Spider-Man, the Spider-Man one with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. They did it a lot because it was like Green Goblin was just like, it makes me think that like Green Goblin gets there early and he's just like watching like Peter Parker talking to what's her face, Mary Jane. And he's just watching and kind of like eavesdropping. And he's like, no, wait, no. Oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Oh yeah. He's about to say I love you. He's about to say I love you. Toss a pumpkin exploding. It just makes me think like the villain is just waiting for just the right moment to interrupt that shit. And I think it's cool. It's just like, dude, every time you're gonna have a slow conversation, like, come on. It happened with remember when and this is it's become a meme, I think, possibly. I'm a May, where Aunt May I mean, the original Spider-Man trilogy. So she's older. She's not the hot. I wanted to say Sally Field. Is it Sally Field? She was the next one. Was it the one after that? It was Marissa Tomei. Jesus. But this was the older Aunt May, and she's kind of like sitting and praying at the bed. This is Spider-Man 1, yeah. And she's sitting and praying at the bed, and then Goblin, and it's nice and quiet, and she's like, oh, Peter, and then all of a sudden it's like right behind her, and she's able to stay right there in the kneeling position, which is insane. And Green Goblin just hovers in on his hoverboard, and he's like, finish it. It's just like, I love that. So good. Like, if you're going to do the explosion interrupting a quiet moment, you got to be like, finish it. And it's crazy. I didn't even realize that Dolph Lundgren was an Aquaman until the friggin' credits rolled. He just doesn't even look like Dolph. The whole underwater thing kind of threw me off too. And I talked to a friend who was just like, I couldn't get into it. It just seemed too absurd. The fact that like they're able to do so much under the water and talk, and you don't see bubbles coming out. It's just like, it is very off-putting, but I mean, I don't know, suspend your disbelief, bro.